This is not just another streaming app. This is football, and This is the best of CBS Sports on Paramount Plus. Live sports, breaking news, and a mountain of entertainment. Now streaming.
With the NFL Draft coming up this week, DraftKings is bringing some additional excitement your way.
We've got another free-to-play pool just in time for the draft, with $50,000 up for grabs.
DraftKings free-to-play pools are easy to play. Download the DraftKings app, go to the pools, then choose from all the different contests for an opportunity to win some cash.
To enter the pool, all you have to do is answer a handful of questions around what you think is going to happen on draft night, then track your results.
We are taking questions based around draft order, team trades, the whole deal.
$50,000 up for grabs. Make sure you enter the pool ahead of the draft this Thursday, April 29th.
To get into the free-to-play pool and many more, head to the App Store now, download the DraftKings app, and use the code SMOKE during sign-up.
That's code SMOKE, only at DraftKings.
Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for more details.
Name a Basketball Hall of Fame member you want to burn one with.
I like to put some of that seven leaves in the air with MJ.
I'm a historical smoker.
Are you?
Yeah. I would like to smoke with the Chief, Robert Parrish.
Oh, you know he was a big chiefer, too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I want to smoke with my kind. I wouldn't want to smoke with Charles Barkley. We ain't got nothing in common. I want to smoke with somebody like me, like Chief.
At 7 feet, sitting Indian style in a teepee, burning a couple.
Woo-sign.
I ain't mad at it. Welcome back to What's Burning. Jack, playoffs are right around the corner, so we're going to take a look at the week ahead and this playoff push. Tuesday, Mavs versus Warriors. Mavs slumping a little bit, only a game and a half out of the 7th spot. Currently, the Blazers hold, while the Warriors are in that 10th spot, but only one game back of the 8th seed. Thoughts on this matchup, but then also thoughts on how dope it would be to get a one-game play-in between Luka and Steph.
Anytime you got a game where you got Steph and Luka on the court, it's always must-see TV. But in the playoffs, having a playoff matchup, I think that'll be awesome, man. We know they're not going to guard each other, but just the excitement, the way they play, and how they carrying their teams right now, it'll be good for the game. It's definitely must-see TV.
I agree. You know, two of the best shot makers in the game, two of the most creative players in the game. Steph is coming off a historical month of April. Luka's been pretty consistent throughout the season. So this will definitely be an exciting matchup this Tuesday, but it'd be amazing to get that play-in game between Golden State and Dallas. Next up, Wednesday, we got the Blazers and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies just beat the Blazers 2 times last week. Blazers are really struggling in their last 11. They're 2-9, currently holding the 7th seed. Lillard during this stretch is not playing his best basketball. Grizzlies, on the other hand, are pretty hot, 9-5 in the month of April. They got, what's the young boy's name back? Jaren Jackson back. Yeah. He is always a big piece for them. I really think they're starting to turn the corner, and they're going to be a scary team. Thoughts on this matchup, and then who do you feel is more prepared to upset someone as a lower seed playing a higher seed?
Well, even though Portland's not playing well, I think they're better built for the playoffs. They're not playing well right now. It's obvious. I think losing Trent and the way he's playing right now has definitely been a big loss for Portland. Also, like you said, Memphis is getting healthy. They're turning the corner. Ja's been playing unbelievable, and he's leading his team, and he's playing so confident right now. I think that's why he's at his best. But if I had to go with a series, it's more experience in Portland, and they're more built for the playoffs. So I got to go with Portland.
I agree. I think obviously Portland's struggling right now, but they got everyone healthy finally. They got Nurkic back, and they got some other key pieces back. Melo's been playing well. Although for some reason Melo hasn't been playing a lot down the stretch, which is kind of mind-boggling to me because I feel like they're a better team with him on the court. But if we're going to talk about playoffs, 7-game series experience, I think both these teams are going to be a scary playoffs teams. But I'm going to pick Portland to most likely upset a higher seed than the Grizzlies. But I really think the Grizzlies, man, are right here. I think Grizzlies fans should really be excited. I think they got a great young core. They all play together. They play hard. They're playing well for this coach. So I think, these next up-and-coming years are going to be exciting basketball for Memphis Grizzlies fans. Next up, Friday, we have Jazz versus Phoenix for the race for the number 1 seed in the West. Jack, in a 7-game series between these two, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Suns, man. The experience of Chris Paul, the ability to finish games and carry your team in Devin Booker. I always said Utah was front runners the whole season. You know, I said they was going to be a great regular season team, but when it comes down to winning the championship and winning big games in the playoffs, I just don't think they have the guys for it. Even Donovan Mitchell been kind of beat up, so you don't want to be hurt going into the playoffs, especially towards the end of the season. They dealing with a lot of that, but I got Phoenix is balling right now. I got Phoenix.
Yeah, man, I got to take my hat off to Phoenix. They were the team I picked at the beginning of the season. Never did I think they'd be fighting for the number one seed in the West, but obviously that's a lot to do with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, obviously. Coach Monty Williams has these guys playing defense. Andre Ayton is kind of coming into his own, and I agree. I've been a big fan of Utah, particularly the way they share the ball and shoot the ball, but I thought they were still one key scorer away from really being a threat in the playoffs. So I could be wrong. But I agree with you. I'm definitely going to take Phoenix because of Chris's experience and how well Devin Booker's playing right now. Next up, Hawks and Sixers play twice this week, Wednesday and Friday. Both teams have been riddled with a little bit of injury trouble. Trey is looking to return this week after a sprained ankle. Embiid missed Saturday's game with a shoulder injury. Ben Simmons has been out with illness. But, Jack, with both teams at full strength, do the Hawks have a chance to slow down Embiid? Obviously, they got Capella in the middle. And then on the flip side, what do you think Philly needs to do to try to slow down Trey?
Well, I think it'll be an easy series, personally, for Philly. You know, they don't have anything to stop Embiid down there. Capella's don't weigh enough. Embiid would dominate if they played in the playoff series. I think Simmons, you know, I think he's long enough, athletic enough to give Trey some problems. You know, nobody can really stop Trey. Trey's unstoppable, but you want to give him problems, make him have a tough shooting night, and I think Simmons is capable of that. But at the end of the day, the reason why the Sixers aren't playing all their guys right now, they're resting. They're in a good spot. They know they're in the playoffs. Any little injury, anything nagging, we're going to rest our guys so we can be 100% in the playoffs, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I just think right now it's fine-tuning for them. You see Brooklyn's taken over the number one seed in the East, but I really don't think seeding matters. You know, Philly's locked into that 2 spot right now. And to me, agreed, the most important thing for them is health. Embiid has showed that he is one of the best players in the game. In the MVP conversation, Ben Simmons is up for Defensive Player of the Year. I love what Shake Milton's been doing. I think people haven't spoken on what he's been doing coming off the bench all season, being really consistent. Seth Curry's starting to round back in form. I think Philly is going to be one of those teams you really need to watch come playoff time, obviously in the second seed. Again, Hawks, similar to the Grizzlies, you know, a really good young team that has a great core and, you know, playing really well for Nate McMillan. And I think, you know, their best basketball is ahead of them. But, you know, I look to Sixers to, you know, I don't really know what will happen in these games depending on who plays. But, you know, I think obviously in a series, we know who the much better team is in this situation. Next up on the radar, presented to you by DraftKings. Big matchup on Wednesday, Clippers versus Suns, both currently tied for second place, battling for that home court advantage, likely a potential second-round matchup if things go as well. Clippers are plus 260 to win the West, Jack. Even though the Suns have been up there all year, they're a plus 900 to win the West. Thoughts on this matchup Wednesday, and if you had to pick one of these two teams to win the West, who would you pick?
I'm going with the Clippers, man. I know Phoenix is playing well, and Chris Paul's leading that team, but the Clippers really got something to prove. They finally healthy. Paul George told us he was going to have this type of season, and he's having it. And with the addition of Rondo, they've been playing real well, man. I think if they get all this stuff together, all them pieces together, they're going to be a problem. I definitely see the Clippers winning the West and winning this game as well.
I completely agree with you. Which brings me to my next question. A healthy team, a healthy Clippers team, how do you think they stack up against the Lakers? You know, obviously the Lakers have slid a little bit with injury problems, but we both agree a healthy Lakers team is one of the best teams in the West. But the Clippers are playing really well with the addition of Rondo. That's exactly what they needed. Who do you see, if you were a fortune teller, in the playoffs, Lakers versus Clippers?
You know what, Matt? I see the Clippers. We've been talking all year about the Lakers and Brooklyn matchup, but the Clippers team has gotten better, and they got something to prove. They got to show this Lakers team that last year was a fluke, and they really got it on their minds. Like I said, we've been talking about Brooklyn all year, but the Clippers they might prove us to be wrong.
Yeah, no, like I said all year, I think last year the Clippers had too much hype. They're not accustomed to hearing them win the conference and go to the finals. This year they've been playing underneath the radar, playing really well. Ty Lue has these guys all on the same page, getting along. Paul George has had an amazing season. Kawhi is going to be Kawhi, but I think that addition of Rondo is going to be huge.
Boogie.
But I'm not, yeah, Boogie. I'm not going to pick nothing because I don't want to jinx the Clippers. I just think it's going to be a hell of a matchup if it happens, and I can't wait to see it. Next up, our favorite segment, fan questions. Ahmad_Musa998. I'm about to read this paragraph for you. A lot of great players had their NBA careers and legacies discredited after they retire if they don't win a chip. And this might be why so many players try to chase rings towards the end of their careers. So as fans, how do we balance that? And what's the right way to look at it? Much love from South Africa. Shout out South Africa. That's a good question, Jack. What are your thoughts on this?
Shout out to South Africa. But I just look at it like this. You played the game to be the best. To hold that trophy up to say, well, at least 1 year in the game, I was the best. I was on the best team. I was the best in the world. And you play the game for that. But if you don't get it, that doesn't validate your career. You could have gave your all. You could have played hurt. You could have did a lot of things that are respected by the best players, by the Hall of Famers. So you can be validated that way. But not having a championship, hey, I don't know how that feels. So Matt don't either. So we're going to have to bring somebody on to ask you that question.
I just think the game has changed so much. You know, there's so much movement now, particularly with superstars and building teams where, you know, back in the day, people like, you know, Barkley, one of the greatest power forwards to ever play. Karl Malone, one of the greatest power forwards to ever play. Never got a ring, but Karl went to the Lakers to try to get one. You know, Chuck had a good run with Phoenix trying to get one, but they came up short. But I don't think that discredits how great they were. But then when you talk about greatest players, you don't really hear them that much because they didn't win a ring. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I definitely don't think a ring validates your greatness. But, you know, in an era where all people talk about is rings, it definitely helps.
Man, if you good, you win. That's just what it is. Next fan novel by T_Miller_. Since Paul George admitted that he mentally broke down in the bubble, a lot of NBA players went at Paul George calling him a bitch on the court. Previously, Kevin Love and DeMar have come out talking about their mental health. Why do guys think the situation is different?
Well, I want to say one of the people that called him a bitch was Seth Curry, and we know he can't fight. So you just discredit whatever he said. I don't know. You know, I think it was courageous. You know, this mental health thing is something that has always been kind of something we don't talk about for possibly situations like this. Now, I'm not sure these guys called him that because of him admitting his breakdown, but you know, I mean, to me, that was a real man. And shout out to Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan and all the other players that have brought mental health to light, because I think it's very real. It's very important, and it's needed. It needs to be in the discussion. So people talk shit all the time. Most people that talk shit really can't fight. So I wouldn't really worry about that. But, you know, like I said, I commend anyone who brings these kind of issues to the light.
Yeah, players go through a lot during the course of the season, ups and downs. You don't know what they go through. But I done had some bitch-ass teammates. So, hey, it happens in the game. You know, you argue. There's a lot of stuff happen on the court. But, you know, hey, it is what it is, man. It ain't personal. It's all in the game. But there's both sides. Like Matt said, players go through ups and downs, but it's stuff that's been said on the court that you're supposed to know that's going to happen. And being a basketball player, growing up all my life playing basketball, I know what's said on the court, and I done heard a lot of things, but it never leaves the court as a basketball player. So that's just what it is, and that's how it goes. But you have to be a basketball player, growing up in the AAU circuit, growing up on the blacktop, playing and really loving this game to know how that goes.
Musty_sheep, I think that is. Do you guys think the condensed season is to blame for the spike in injuries this year? According to the NBA, Jack, injuries are actually down. But I think if you look at the whole package, it's a condensed season, short off season. The bubble situation happened. They're trying to get a bunch of games in a small amount of time so that next season could start on time and the NBA can get back to their regular schedule. There has been injuries, but I mean, I think that's a part of the game. There was a nasty injury with the young kid from Orlando yesterday. Prayers out to him. He had a compound ankle fracture. But this is the downside of the game. There's so many ups from this game, but one of the downsides are injuries. They are coming at, Like I said, I don't think there's more. I just think because everything is so condensed, they're magnified more. So teams are being very cautious with their stars. That's why you see guys like James taking his time, KD taking his time, Bron and AD taking their time, because this is a condensed, tighter schedule. But still, at the end of the day, the show must go on.
And then you got to understand, there's nobody playing for regular season. They're playing for championships. Teams are getting ready for the playoffs. So the sprained finger can come out sometimes in the media as a sprained ankle, just so guys can rest and be ready to play when the games count. So sometimes guys don't really be hurt. Sometimes it be maintenance, and you got to understand that, like Matt said, with the condensed schedule. Next question, Xander's dad. Name a Basketball Hall of Fame member you want to burn one with.
Ooh. I want to burn with the great. I want to burn with MJ. His eyes are always looking glassy, but I just think that's from cigars and whiskey. But I like to put some of that 7 leaves in the air with MJ.
Well, me, man, I'm a historical smoker.
Are you?
Yeah. I would like to smoke with the Chief, Robert Parrish.
Oh, he was a big chiefer, too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I want to smoke with my kind. I wouldn't want to smoke with Charles Barkley. We ain't got nothing in common. I want to smoke with somebody like me, like Chief. I want to go with the Chief and lay back, and I want to hear some of his stories while we blaze one. You did.
See, I think I could picture the Chief at 7 feet sitting Indian style in a teepee with some
I'm
some
down with
feathers,
that, though.
with a headband with some feathers sticking out of it, and you guys are just sitting Indian style burning a couple.
Woo sign.
I ain't mad at it. Next up, 1157. What do the Knicks need to become a genuine championship contender? Oh, this is the right person to ask about the Knicks, because he was not a fan of them at the beginning of the season. Let's hear what he got to say now.
What they need to keep the coach, keep our 2-3 players, get rid of the whole roster, and get rid of the owner. And y'all be right there where y'all need to be. Don't start acting like y'all play away, motherfuckers. Cut it out.
Oh, shit. Now, I love what they've been able to do this year. Hats off to Thibodeau. I think he's kind of changed his old school ways to really be more relatable to these players. Still holding them accountable on the defensive end. Julius Randle's an all-NBA season, should be in the MVP conversation. Sitting nice, 4th in the East. But I still think there's some key pieces away, maybe 2 pieces away from
That's
really
a setup
being a
for him, though, Matt. That's a setup, being that 4th seed.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get beat up that first round.
Yeah, it's that 4 or 5 matchup is going to be tough. But like I said, I think it's baby steps for them. They haven't had no love in so long. It's beautiful just to see them back in the mix. I think it's better for basketball, but I still think they're, a few pieces away from really being a contender. But shout out D-Rose. Shout out everyone who's been hooping for them, man. They've been playing real well this year.
Shout out my little homie Emmanuel Quickly. Had him at the AI game.
Man. He's been playing real well. He's a big shot taker and maker.
Yes, sir. Best thing happened for them. The best thing happened to them. They got rid of Austin Rivers. They've been winning ever since.
He's stupid.
Facts. Next question. Daddy Shark 504. What is the best play that you have seen that the rest of the world didn't? Maybe it happened in practice or a pickup game.
That's tough. To be honest, I don't even know how NBA practices are, but I remember back in the day when I first came to the league, like practices were harder than games. Like the second unit would always be trying to go at the first unit. So I saw some really good basketball when I was in Sacramento on the second unit playing against Webb, Mike Bibby, Peja, those guys. Our second unit really came with it. Saw some good basketball there. Saw some good basketball at the beginning of that. We believe, when we would go first unit against second unit, we'd have some good battles there until Nelly only had us going 30-minute practices, which I loved. A lot of good stuff happens at practice. I don't know how much it happens anymore because I don't think they practice the same way anymore. It's more about the games, but practice used to be the shit.
Yeah, I think with me, it was something my brother did. It was a tournament we used to play in Lake Charles, Louisiana every summer. And it was a big game. It was a big rivalry game. And we was playing, and I was really going to work, and I shot a 3, and I actually missed one,
No way. You missed it?
Yeah, I mean, I hit like probably a million in a row, and I finally missed one. I mean, I'm human. But I missed it, and it rolled out. And with the intensity of the game, everybody was watching. The ball came out the rim. My brother, this is a true story, Matt. Hand was above. He put his left hand on the square, where basically probably like almost at the top of the square, and grabbed it with his right hand while dude is under him and threw it in. Boom. And that was one of those dunks where the referees ran out the gym. The fans ran all over the thing. So that was one of the best, amazing dunks I've ever seen in my life with my little brother. Shout out Snap Lee, though.
Shout out Snap Marley. I didn't know Snap Marley was dunking like that.
Yeah, see, boy, bounce. Serious bounce.
Mm-hmm. Swish My Ish 13. If you had to pick one guest from the quarantine to come back for a second show in person, who would be your first choice? Great question.
Mine would be Deion Sanders, of course. It would be good to have him in studio. Prime time.
It looked wet, but it's dry.
But it was dry.
Time. Shout out to Prime. We got to try to get out there and get to a game. It probably got to have to be next season, obviously, but we got to come fuck with Deion. My choice would be, I would go with Too Short and E40. We got fucked up that day. I was drinking and smoking. Yeah, virtually. 40 had problems with his earpiece. He sounded like he was on the collect call. This your partner, man. So I think that would be I think that would have been a dope show in person to have Short and 40. Shit, maybe we can get the whole Mount Westmore to come back.
One love.
And do a round table. That would be dope. Shout out to Mount Westmore.
Yes, sir.
This Thursday, April 29th, we dropped the one and only big homie, Shaquille O'Neal. Enjoy this teaser. You said Steph Curry changed the face of basketball itself and how the game is played. And before we even got on air, you were talking about a situation with your older son where he had a chance. He's standing in the corner when he should have dove back in the day. But now that's what the game is, and that's kind of the Steph Curry effect. Talk to the...
Steph Curry is messing the game up. I'm on the internet now, see a bunch of little kids dribbling, shooting 100-footers.
To get warm, to start the game.
But he's doing something for them. He's giving them a chance. So what I mean by giving them a chance, the other day I talked about Rudy Gobert making $200 million. People thought I was hating, but it's giving big guys that aren't David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, it's giving them a chance. If you work hard, this is the bread you can make. And that's the point I was trying to make. Oh, you meant, no.
I mean, I said, this is our show, and I said, you know what I'm about to say. He ain't worth it. God damn it, but I'm gonna say that. But you get what you negotiate, and that's what it is.
Well, I'm not gonna say where I don't like talking about people bread. I'm glad he got it, but same thing happened to me in high school because my dream was to make $8 million for 10 years. That was my dream growing up in San Antonio. So one day my father came in the house with a paper and he hit me in the face. Pow! Get your ass up. We going to the game. So we go to the Spurs game. We at the top. He said, see him? He just signed 15 for 3, John Concact. And he wasn't that good.
Trash.
And I'm like, that's when I said, okay. You know, I learned in school about inflation and economics. I was like, shit, by the time I come out in 90, I could probably at least get 20, 25. So I end up getting 40. But so, you know, it's all about watching these guys and, you know, learning from them. But, you know, Steph, it probably is the most influential player when it comes to little people.
Yes.
Right? Because I see a lot of little guards, like little kids. I'm going to these tournaments, they're doing stuff I can't even do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good and bad.
Nobody running the lane. Everybody stopping at the 3-point line.
What's crazy, I mean, I coach AAU, like I coach the Twins, you know what I mean? And like I said, it's from the time they warm up, they're shooting it from like the out of bounds line instead of like hitting layups and everything. And that's literally the effect. And the whole team shoots threes now. You know what I mean? So that's kind of just the way the game is moved. So I understand, like you said, giving little people a chance is what Steph's doing and giving them hope. But at the same time, like you said, there's a reason why Steph is so great because he makes a lot of them motherfucking shots he takes.
He makes a lot.
You know what I mean? The other people don't make as many.
And I used to hate on him early on in his career, but he ain't going to make that. But he kept proving me wrong. That's why he's my best player. I like being proved wrong.
Yeah.
So my message to these young cats, when I say something, prove me wrong.
Yeah, take it as a challenge.
Prove me wrong. Because when Kareem and them was doing all that talking, I said, okay, you're right, Mr. Abdul-Jabbar. Right. I'm not winning. I understand. I appreciate it.
But I will.
Yeah. And I called my father. He's like, motherfucker, he right.
Yeah.
You ain't doing shit. He said, you've been in L.A. 4 years and got swept 4 times in a row. You out there doing videos and rap songs and shit. You ain't doing nothing. So I was like, all right, you're right, Sarge. And then that's when, Phil came along and, we started turning around. So.
Well, you remember the saying used to be, you live by the three, you die by the three. Like, no teams were winning shooting a large amount of three-point attempts like they are now, obviously, and they've changed the dynamic, so it makes sense.
Jack, we got the Iverson Classic right around the corner, May 6th through 8th in Memphis, Tennessee. We'll be coaching. I'll be your assistant pimp / assistant coach versus Rashid and Bonzi. Very star-studded high school field. Thoughts about the weekend in the game?
Man, I'm excited, man. Every chance we get to get down with the kids, to give them the game, that we have, and also to watch these kids grow. So the kids are so talented. They're way better than we were at that age. But just to be around and give them the game, and we got more good news. Mm-hmm. The NBA just gave us approval to allow the teams to come to the game. So it's going to be exciting for the kids, and they're really going to put on.
Dope. No, I'm excited about that. That was news to me as well. I'm excited. I got my one little UCLA homeboy I'm excited for, Peyton Watson. They have been projected a top 10 pick after his first year at UCLA. So, he's been someone I've been following for, a couple years out here in LA. I think it's going to be dope. We got the first female playing in a male all-star game, which I think is going to be fun and amazing. And also, man, shout out our brother Allen Iverson, man. I think this is important. He's got one of the biggest games now. If I'm not mistaken, is this the only game that's being played, all-star game that's being played this summer?
High School Classic, yep.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to that. Here's a little intro video so some of the talent that will be on display that weekend in Memphis. Enjoy. Coming down the stretch, we got quick hitters now. Lakers play-in tourney. They're only a game and a half ahead of the 6th seed and 3 games ahead of the 7th seed. With AD returning, Jack, do you think they play the long game and don't really care where they're seated as long as they're healthy? Or do you think they're obviously going to try to keep fighting and stay out of that play-in situation?
Yeah, with the team they have, they could finish in 8th and still win the championship. They have everything they need. That's one of the still top 3 team in the league. They just trying to get healthy. They know what they can do. They're defending champions, and they coming back to defend it. And that's their only mind. Everything else doesn't matter. Yeah,
it's a marathon, not a sprint. Obviously, AD was back this week. I'm sure LeBron's going to be back in the next week or so. And to me, I've been saying this, no matter where they slide, you don't want to see the Lakers, period. If they happen to slide into a play-in situation, obviously anything can happen in that play-in situation, but I'm taking the Lakers versus anybody. But think if they mess around and get the 7th or 8th seed, like Utah or Phoenix are in trouble in that first round. So to me, it's about health. The rest of the regular season doesn't really matter. To be honest with you, it's just about continuing to stay healthy, trying to find some chemistry, and getting LeBron back. Next up, Boogie's trying to find his role with the Clippers. With Serge being out since mid-March, Boogie's played. Not crazy impressive numbers, obviously, but I definitely think in the playoffs, someone like him is going to be able to help this team down the stretch. Thoughts on Boogie and the Clippers picking him up?
I love it. I mean, we talk about the dynamic of the Clippers and Lakers, but we don't talk about Serge Ibaka and Boogie against AD and Drummond. That's a hell of a matchup. That's must-see TV as well. So if both of those teams can do what they need to do to meet up in the Western Conference, man, I can't wait to see that.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm just happy for Boogie, man, and I really hope he gets an opportunity to kind of refine his greatness. I think obviously I don't think he'll ever be able to get back to where he was with the the laundry list of injuries, but he can still help add a solid player on the team, and I think this is a great opportunity for him with the Clippers. I hope he's able to really seize this moment and not only play this year with them, but sign a couple-year deal with them. I think that'd be dope. The Wizards have been hot of late, winning 8 in a row, entering the play-in situation. The last time this team won 8 in a row, Jack, someone named by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan was their starting 2-guard. Russell Westbrook over this span has been 22, 13, and 12. Bradley Beal's been at 32 points a game. One thing to note, Russell Westbrook is only 7 triple-doubles away from Oscar Robertson's triple-double record, man. So I underappreciated, too much disrespect goes Russell Westbrook's way, man. This is one of the best players this game has ever seen, the most athletic point guard we've ever seen. And for those who say he pads his stats, his team's record when he records a triple-double is 131-43. So obviously, shout out Russ. Thoughts on this Wizard team, man, because they really dug themselves out of a grave to get themselves in a position to be in a play-in.
See, this is why we don't listen to nobody when they talk to anyone when they talk about Russ. We don't pay no attention to it. We know what he is to the game. We know how special he is, and we know how rare Russell Westbrook is. His stats speak for itself. His stats speak for itself, man. So big ups to Russ, man. Keep doing your thing. And he's the only reason that they win in these games. Yes, Bill has been playing well. Bill's been playing well last year and the year before that and this year. But having that dynamic of a point guard like Russell Westbrook who can come in and get a triple-double and get a dub, 25 every night, like that's something special to have. And that's something that majority of the teams in the NBA don't have. So Bill has that luxury with Russell Westbrook, man. And I'm happy to see him coming into his own and having success there because he always deals with so much hate. But as he deals with it, he still rises to the occasion and play well.
I agree. And Bertans is shooting 45% from the 3, nearly 9 attempts a game. This team could give someone some problems. The play-in situation is going to be fun if they happen to actually sneak into the playoffs. Obviously, they'll be playing one of these higher seeds. But again, hats off to this team. They dug themselves up out of the grave, and a lot of that has to do with Russell Westbrook. Last but not least, LaMelo Ball is on his way back. After breaking his wrist and having surgery, we thought he was done for the season, but he got his cast off. And they said 7 to 10 days after that, he should be back. So he should be back in the next week or so. This team's offense, while he was out, was ranked 23rd. When he's in, they're one of the best offenses in the game. Could the Hornets scare somebody in that first round, fully healthy?
Yeah. They're a scary team. They're definitely a scary team. I think they kind of remind me of us when Golden State. They have a lot of dynamic pieces and a lot of kids that play hard, and they really go out there and scrap. But you got to think about this, though. This is your franchise player. This is your future. You want to bring him back this year and rush him back and force another injury or possibly hurt him something else? You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful with this because this kid is your franchise. This is your future. And you don't want him to come out there trying to rush him back for a playoff shot when you need him for the long term.
I agree. But luckily, this is not a lower extremity injury. This is a wrist. So obviously, the only thing I kind of fear is him falling down, which happens in the game. But I agree. But I think they realize that. I think they understand how special this kid is and what he's going to mean to this franchise for a long time. So I don't expect him to be back out there unless they really feel he can play. Sometimes as players, we have to be protected against ourselves because I'm sure he felt like he could play while he had his cast on. So definitely looking forward to him coming back. I think he had the Rookie of the Year all but wrapped up before he got hurt, but he got hurt as a part of the game, and Anthony Edwards is coming on hot towards the end. So I think Anthony Edwards is probably going to most likely end up winning Rookie of the Year, but LaMelo's had a great first year. And just excited to see him back and see what he does in his first playoff action. Before we close, we want to send a special shout out to our brother Kevin Durant and Mike Conley for winning an Oscar for Two Distant Strangers. Amazing. Those two plus Kobe Bryant are the only ones to win Oscars as far as NBA players. So hats off, salute. And then on a sad note, rest in peace to the young brother Terence Clark, who lost his life tragically in L.A. last week. Tremendous talent, man. This kid used to come up to Mamba when Legends, we'd hold our Taco Tuesday runs, man. And this kid was a pro. You could tell he was going to be a pro. Unfortunately, lost his life last week. So condolences to his family, friends, and loved ones. Man, life is short. Kid was only 19 years old, man. So Rest in peace to that young brother. And again, congratulations to Kevin Durant, Mike Conley, my man Van Lathan, Nick May.
Yep.
Salute, fellas. Way to do your thing. What's Burning? You can find every Monday on Showtime Basketball YouTube.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Show Basketball.
See y'all next week.
This is not just another streaming app. This is football, and This is the best of CBS Sports on Paramount Plus. Live sports, breaking news, and a mountain of entertainment. Now streaming.